Hi Felicity, cheers for coming on the show today.
Hey, how you doing?
Nice to meet you. Thank you for taking time, sort of out of your busy schedule to come on and chat with me. May as well get the ball rolling straight away. The first question I'd obviously like to ask you is, so what are your interests, and tell me a little bit about your background.
Sure. Well, I am 24 years old. I'm originally from New York, but I've lived out in California for years now, and um, I'm very involved in different entertainment industries. I consider myself sort of a chameleon, I'm involved in different things. I am a porn star, I do a lot of modeling and promotional work, sales, but Um, my main interests in life are drumming, producing music, DJing, hiking, being outdoors, traveling. I like doing yoga, outdoor sports. I like to read. I like to write a lot. I've had journals and scrapbooks and blogs my whole life. So I'm just a very creative and expressive person. I need a lot of outlets to get my energy out.
No, well, it seems like you've got a lot of interests and sort of a lot of ways to express yourself, which is always nice. And I think that reflects well on you in saying like you're not a lazy person. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there that are like, yeah, I just go to the gym, man. That's all I do. Go to the gym. Like that's like their one focus, and like they're like, oh yeah, go to the gym for an hour a day, and then I'm at home doing nothing. So I think it quite reflects well on your character.
Yeah, I'm not really a gym person, like I played a lot of sports growing up and I was quite an athlete, and I did gymnastics and I was in the gym a lot growing up as a kid and I just really got burned out from it. I'd rather be outdoors doing physical exercise so I have kind of best of both worlds. I have fresh air and I can be outside and enjoying nature and I'm also getting a workout, like I wanted a workout to feel like a chore. I just like to enjoy myself and to do different activities, I also love dirt biking and riding motorcycles, but I've kind of chilled out with that a little bit just because I have to be really careful, like I have to my body is what gets me a lot of work, so if I get into even minor accidents, it can prevent me from getting certain jobs, so I'm just more wary about that now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you said about your flexibility. How do you maintain that?
Well, I was very active growing up, and then obviously like having a background in gymnastics, and I had a little bit of scoliosis growing up, and so I got really into yoga to kind of help straighten my spine when I was younger, and I've just kind of kept up with it. I stretch every day, and I like to just remain limber, and just have my body feeling flexible because it really makes a difference. When I don't stretch regularly, I feel it.
No, that makes like sense to me. I think it's like part of your morning routine as well, or your daily routine. I think it's always good to keep um, a routine for like mentally as well. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes for me, if I like miss out on doing certain parts of my daily routine, like going out in my garden and hitting my punch bag, suddenly my day just feels shit. Do you know what I mean? For some reason, I'm like, why didn't I do that? Like I haven't released that bit of energy to then like push me on to my next task for the day. So I don't know whether that's like similar for you in the sense of things of doing your stretches and that. Is it like a fundamental key for your like daily plan? Like if you don't do it, do you feel a bit pissed off maybe or whatever? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely do. I mean, like I put it this way, I'm adaptable, I'm flexible. If things don't work out exactly how I want to each day, I try not to get upset about it. Like I sort of go with the flow, but I do like to utilize my time as best as I can. Like I like to fit in as much as I can during a day. Like I like to get some type of workout every day. Um, I also love to dance a lot too. So dancing in my mind counts as a workout. I mean, I like to try to play drums whenever possible, whether I'm playing on my electronic kit or going to a studio and playing on a real drum set, or work on some DJ sets, just take a walk, explore, make some videos to sell on like clips for sale and many vids. Like I like to stay busy, I'm a really productive person and I don't like to waste time. Like I've never owned a television in my life. I'm not necessarily into just sitting around doing nothing. I like to do things that help my brain grow and I like to learn and absorb new information. So whatever whatever I can do to obtain that, I'll do it.
No, that makes
And I like to
sense.
make money too. So I try to do something to make money every day.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's nothing more worrying than sort of a generation of people that are so focused on watching TV. Do you know what I mean? They're like, rather, instead of educating themselves, they'd rather watch, I don't know what shows you have in America, but over here in England, we have like EastEnders or whatever, and people are just almost zombies just watching the telly. So for me, I think like it's a good thing to maintain a routine away from that where you're educating yourself and keeping up your routines and your flexibilities and looking for new things to do. I think it's like massive for the brain, like learning something new. It's always really good.
Yeah.
um Sorry. So you said you was born in New York, is that correct? Am I right in thinking
Yeah.
that? Is that what you said? How did you make because you're in, where are you now, in LA?
In Los Angeles, yeah.
Yeah, so how did you make the jump from sort of New York to LA? Like, it must have been a big, sort of like a scary thing to go do. Did you have like connections in LA in the first place, or?
Well, I mean, put it this way. I grew up on Long Island, and it was a really good place to grow up. I was surrounded by nature and nature preserves, but just the older I got, I realized I didn't want to live there, and I just after school, because I went to college in upstate New York for a little bit, and then I went to college on Long Island for a little bit, and once I was done with that, I just basically tried to save as much money as possible, and I started, during school and before I went to college, I would take little trips to California and I would just couch surf and meet new friends and I crashed at friends' houses and I just kind of winged it, and I got to know the areas really well. And I first focused on San Diego because I was really into surfing at the time and just the outdoor life down there. And once I got involved in the porn industry, I was going to Los Angeles so much that I decided to focus more on LA. So I just started networking and friends through music, through porn, through everything, and um, I'm not really afraid of traveling. I don't get homesick. I've always been pretty nomadic and on the go. So it was pretty natural for me. And I just, I never wanted to live on Long Island. It's just I just couldn't wait to get the fuck out. As soon as I turned 18, I was pretty much like, bye. So I visit a lot. I visit like every month or every other month to see my family because I'm really close with them. But it's just I have no desire to stay there. I just kind of created my own life and just moved on.
So, what's it like, sort of working in the porn industry?
Well, it wasn't easy at first. It's been a lot of work, a lot of emotional strength. It's taken a lot of emotional strength to get where I am now because in the beginning, people were really nasty about it. I got harassed a lot, and I try to warn girls and guys that are thinking about getting involved in the industry just to think twice about it because a lot of people end up regretting it because once your stuff is out there, it's forever out there and it's a
Hmm.
part of your life, and there's no turning back really because you don't own the material unless you're producing your own content. And for me, I was really indecisive in the beginning because I have so many other talents and I have a college background. I'm a very educated person and a lot of people were just shocked that I was like I chose this path, but I always wanted to be an entertainer and porn was just sort of like another way for me to get involved in a different industry. And I was already doing a lot of modeling and I was just curious what it would be like to get involved in porn. But yeah, I mean, in the beginning it was rough. I got made fun of a lot. I got put on like revenge websites. People just trying to exploit my personal information and saying awful things about me on the internet. And it took me years to kind of clean up things on the internet and just to get where I'm at now, to start working with better companies. And it's just it was really tough in the beginning. It was. And I had serious doubts about it. But I told myself like I wanted to get to a level and become a successful porn star. And it's like I've kind of sort of built my own niche, and I'm happy where I'm at because I've stayed true to who I am. And fuck the haters. All those people that make fun of me, like I just kind of look at them now and I'm like, you keep doing your thing. If you guys feel the need to hurt other people, it just shows what type of people you are. Like I'm
Mm.
living my life, I'm doing whatever I want, and you know, I I've stayed true to myself through it all. So, but sorry, to answer your question more directly, working in the porn industry, it's a little surreal sometimes, because a lot of people don't view you as a normal person. Like you're kind of like an object. You're like this sex object to people. And it's kind of been somewhat isolating in a way. A lot of people can't relate to me and my life, even though, I'm really normal and down to earth. And um, it's just another job to me.
Mm.
I really enjoy acting, and I'm kind of an exhibitionist at times, so it's a good way for me to just get my energy out, and I'm really comfortable with my sexuality. So it was just sort of like, okay, this works, but it's not my life, you know what I mean? Like it's just another job.
Mm. No, I think it's sort of an interesting way to look at it, and like I think that like based on my opinion on just what I've seen on social media is like people have many different layers. So I think for those people out there that are just looking at you or looking at people in porn, for example, as like objects, are like, oh yeah, this bitch just wants to get dick and blah blah blah, like whatever people like to comment. I think they're like, if small-minded and thick, do you know what I mean, to have this opinion, because I don't think they can understand that there's many depths to people, do you know what I mean? So like I've seen from your posts, you like being out in nature and you like playing the drums and you're into nutrition, etc. So I don't think just defending your point that people shouldn't just view you personally as an object, do you know what I mean? I think that's just the dumbest way that people can view someone.
But honestly, most people are sheep, and most people they don't have a lot of depth to them, and they just have really low frequency views on other people, and their perspective on things, it's just so narrow minded. So I don't even care. Like I don't let it get to me because I'm living my life and I'm living it to the fullest. And when I die one day, before I hit the grave, I'm going to be really happy that I just did whatever I wanted and I didn't really care what people thought. And so many people just care too much about what other people think, and they don't do what they really want to do in life, and they end up with a lot of regrets. And look, like getting fucked in the ass on camera is not really like something that I wanted to do. It just kind of happened. Like I had the opportunity to shoot porn. Companies are paying me a lot of money to have sex and to do things on camera for other people to jerk off to. So I'm kind of like, okay, sure, if you're going to pay me to do this, why not capitalize on it? Like I'm already having sex as a person, so if someone's going to pay me to have sex with people that are tested in a safe environment, why not? Like I'm past the point of caring at this point, and I just like I said, I just look at it as another job. It's like I'm a performer. I'm acting. I'm producing content for other people to watch. And if people have a problem with that, it's kind of like, okay, move on.
Yeah.
Like there's billions of other people on this planet. Like you don't have to focus on my life, go do your own thing. Like I don't really understand why people have to criticize other people's lives, but some people just have nothing better to do with their time, you
Do you know
know?
what
So,
I find there's like these, there may not be, but a lot of them are hypocrites anyways. It's like, how did they stumble across your stuff? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know, right?
it's,
Like
You're clearly like beating off over me and then like wanting to slag me off. Like, what the fuck's up with you? Like, whatever your fantasy is, like, cool, you know? Like, you be you, I'm doing me, like, let me get on with my shit.
Exactly.
But definitely, like, I'm glad that you mentioned the point about, because I was going to say it, but I didn't really want to be rude and say, like, the whole, you're having sex anyways, so why not get paid for it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, like,
Like, as long as it's in a clean way, like, if that makes sense, like, I wouldn't
yeah,
mind that.
yeah. I mean, like, the thing is, I don't really recommend the industry to people often. Like, there's very few people that I think are really capable of
Hmm.
doing porn because, it's not as easy as people think. Like I said, dealing with other people criticizing you, that's a really hard thing to deal with. Also, just performing and being naked on camera, it's really vulnerable. You're basically like exploiting your soul and your body for the world to see. And even though at the time you might not, oh, it's not a big deal, once you're in the situation and there's people in the room and there's camera people and there's PAs and there's all these people just watching you naked. You have to really be in the mindset and you have to be confident with yourself in order to do this. Because it's difficult, like I was sort of shy in the beginning and I got nervous at points, and the more films I did, the more productions I did, I got more comfortable with myself and my body. And people have criticized my body a lot over the years, and made fun of certain things. People have made fun of my razor burn, telling people have told me to get a boob job, like just all these different things. And I'm like, you know what? I like who I am, and if you don't like it, okay.
Hmm.
No one, it's whatever, to each his own, So you have to be comfortable in your own skin to work this industry. And like I know some porn stars that they don't even watch their films afterward because they just don't want to see it. I mean, personally, I love to watch my own films because that's how I learn and that's how I learn to improve.
Hmm.
Like I see myself at certain angles and I'm like, okay, well then, I shouldn't do this. It's slightly unflattering, or I need to, put my head more like this, or, I just notice certain things. But yeah, it's just definitely have to be confident and self-assured to what in order to work in this industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think the saying is like, it looks easier than it is. Do you know what I mean? So like, people
Yeah.
are just like, oh yeah, well, you just turn up and take a cock and then get paid and go home. But like, for me, if just recording a homemade movie with someone would be fucking hard. Do you know what I mean? Because you're potentially exposing yourself to just that person who's going to watch it back. So to have many
Yeah.
different people watch it back and put yourself out there for criticism, as well as obviously, like, there are positive, I'm sure there are positives as well, and some people are positive, but to be able to put yourself out there and be criticized, I think, like, shows good strength on the person that's doing that, in my opinion. So
Yeah,
hopefully that
gotta have a
touches.
thick skin, and it's like it's not just women, like for men too, like I'm talking about both genders, and even like for males, in order to, I mean, it's really difficult for men, like I'd say in a way it's harder for men because you need to be able to stay hard on camera and then be able to come basically like on demand. I mean, depending on how the scene is, like, there's usually a time where like the producer would be like, okay, like we want the cum shot like this and this or whatever. And the guy just sort of, he needs to be able to do it, or
Mm.
else he's kind of not doing his job. And it's just it's a lot of pressure. It is, on both people, and you want it to come off as naturally as possible, but it's in a really artificial environment. I mean, there's bright lights, like you have this, I'm wearing a lot of, usually I'm wearing like this makeup that I would never wear in real life. And it's just like a very strange environment in order to just be like, okay, you're going to have sex with this person, or you're going to, you know, be tied up and you have to do this. And it's just like you got to be adaptable. You got to be able to do whatever the scene kind of calls for, as long as you're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, a question you don't have to answer, by the way, but is there, because I read, like, I don't know how recent this is now, but the, like, James Dean scandal, I don't know whether you'd heard of it over in LA, but he was like the porn star, and there was women speaking out about maybe times that he hadn't listened to him or whatever. Do you ever, I'm not asking you to elaborate on that story that's been mentioned, but do you ever, like, are you ever worried about maybe like those situations that could happen to you, if that makes sense, like where some, like the male star you're acting with could take it too far, or do you know what I mean? I'm assuming like there's like safety words and stuff like that anyway, anyways, I assume, but have you ever, like, does that ever come across your mind, like with like a co-star or whatever, or do you know about that person beforehand? Do you know what I mean? Like, walk me through the process on that. You don't have to
Yeah,
answer, by the way.
no, it's fine. I don't mind answering. I mean, that situation, like I've never worked with James Dean personally, so I can't really comment directly on that, but I definitely have been in situations where I didn't really necessarily like how either the male talent or the camera people or something, like they just assume like, oh, this porn star, she's a porn star, so she's just down to party or she's down to do whatever. And I make it a point when I walk into that room or the studio or the mansion, wherever the fuck I am, I make it a point to be respected, and if someone crosses a boundary, then I'm out. It's like I'm here to do a job, and I'm being a professional, and I expect the other people to be professionals. Like I'm not a swinger in my private life. I'm not I'm not like that. I'm not a party animal. I don't drink alcohol. I don't even do drugs. Like I smoke weed, and I just I'm really I look at it as a job. And if I'm uncomfortable by anyone that I'm working with, I'll let them know. Like I'm not afraid to speak my mind, Like I don't like to cause drama, but if someone is like, say just slaps my ass or does something like that, I'm like, "Hey, watch it."
Mm,
It's like we're doing something, we're producing content, but I don't want you to treat me like I'm a piece of meat because I'm fucking not.
yeah.
So yeah, like, I absolutely I kind of just assert this energy where people know to respect me, and if they don't, then I'm not going to work with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
So
no.
like
Makes,
usually I don't have that issue, but it's happened for sure a couple times.
I think that's it as well, is like, if you're going to turn up and be a professional, you obviously expect that back. Like, it's not, I mean, my view on it could be like, you're already struggling, not struggling, that's probably the wrong word, but you're already going on there and having to deal with this emotional situation of getting naked and all these lights and this cameraman, and you're having sex with, like, someone that you haven't really met or been around with much, and then you've got some guy fucking being rude or slapping your ass and treating you like a bit of meat. You're kind of just like, I don't fucking need this. Do you know what I mean? Like, be a
Yeah,
professional.
exactly. And it's just yeah, fortunately I don't really have to deal with that often, but if it does come up, like I'm not afraid to stand up for myself. Like you have to in this
Mm,
industry. Like if you want to be looked at as a professional, you have to act as a professional. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of blurry lines in the adult industry because a lot of men or even women, like it's not just about men dominating women. It's like people think that, people in porn, they're this certain way sometimes, when in reality it's like not everyone is the stereotype that people think. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? Like it's just whatever, like you get what I'm saying, but
yeah.
it's just you gotta stand up for yourself for sure.
So how do you deal with, like, this is always like something that's interested me in porn, is like, how do you deal with the emotional side of it? So what I mean by that is like, have you ever like fallen for a guy you're having sex with? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be, is there like ever, how to explain it? There's got to be like some attractions and some there's like no attraction. Like, how do you get past that barrier where, for example, you turn up, there's a guy on set, you don't find him attractive at all. How do you get stimulated to perform? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, something that I deal with, but I've made it a point from the beginning to not get involved with anyone in the adult industry because, first off, like, in all honesty, I would never date a male porn star.
Mm,
I wouldn't even want to date a director. Like, I just I don't have an interest in dating someone that works in porn because I do it because it's a job, you know what I mean? And it has its
yeah.
perks, but I have so many other interests in life that are more important that I just wouldn't want to date someone that was involved in this industry because like I kind of just I look at it as just just another thing I do for work, but I don't want to bring it home with me. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like, I already deal with it enough.
No,
So,
that makes sense to me. It's like you don't, like a saying that we use that you might have heard is like, don't mix business with pleasure. So, for example, me being a personal trainer, it's like, don't sleep with your clients. Do you know what I mean? Like, because
yeah.
it's not a good image. And obviously, you sleep with that person and they're still coming to your sessions. Other clients can notice it. So, and as well as there's other issues as well, like if you sleep with a client, they can be like, yo, what the fuck was you doing? Like touching that person, correcting their technique. Like you looked a bit flirty with them, and you're like, no, I'm just trying to run business here. Like, do you know what I mean? So, I can
Yeah.
relate to your point, and I understand exactly, like what you're saying with that, and fair play in those decisions and sticking to them. Um, so it's like obviously another thing I was interested in is like the money in porn good. Like, is it well paid, or how is it paid? For example, is it different per film or whatever? Like, what's the scale?
Yeah, well, I mean, for starters, I just want to kind of state that, porn isn't really what it used to be as far as, before tube sites like Pornhub and X videos. There used to be a lot more money in porn. Stars were paid definitely more than they are now, but um, I'm not complaining because the money is good. Like in one shoot, I can make anywhere between $1,000 and 1,500. Like I really just mainly have done anal and boy girl and some girl girl and masturbation stuff but it's nice because like I can do one shoot in a week and I'm making the amount of money that someone with maybe a 9 to 5 job would be making in a week or even 2 weeks.
Mm,
So it's like there are perks in that way. Like I can make a large sum of money pretty quickly for and it's a fairly easy day of work. It doesn't take too much time up. But the thing is, like, I don't shoot that much compared to other porn stars I know. Like, mainly because I have a lot of tattoos, and sometimes that limits me with what work I can get. And also, it's just like I don't want to put too much pressure on my body. Like, I don't want to be shooting multiple times a week because I just don't think that's healthy. You know what I mean? Like, I like to just take care of my body and give it rest and be able to do everything else I want to do. But definitely the perk of like the money making in porn, I have time to do my other hobbies. Like I can work on music, I can DJ, I can play drums, I can write. Um, Whereas I've worked a lot of 9 to 5 jobs in the past. I mean, dude, like I used to work on farms. I used to landscape. Like I worked at Trader Joe's. I've had so many different types of jobs and worked my ass off. And it's like I'm not a little princess that has just got shit easy her whole life. Like I've worked my ass off. And it's just I do enjoy the sort of lifestyle I can have now by doing porn and doing this type of modeling because I have a flexible schedule, and I can be my own boss.
mm.
But I know what it's like to be on the other side of the spectrum too. So it's like, there's perks and downsides of it, but overall, like, I'd say if you're a business person and you look at it with a logical mindset and you're good with your money, you can definitely do well by doing porn, but it's different for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, like it's something that I'm learnt like so I've started my own fitness business over here, because I don't want to work like a shitty 9 to 5 job, like working in a call center, taking phone calls from people or whatever. You know, that's not really where my aspirations lie. So I thought if I do fitness and run my own like boot camps and fitness classes and whatever, then that would free up a lot more of my time, and I can, you know, if I get 10 people that turn up to a class and I'm charging them, I don't know, 20 quid each, you know, I've made a good amount of money just for like 1 hour's work. So, and then that kind of sets me up for the week to be able to do some of my other interests, such as, you know, meditating or going out for nature walks or seeing friends, walking my dog. Do you know what I mean? It frees up a lot more. So I found like when I was working these like 9 to 5 jobs, like mentally I was just unhappy because I wasn't being able to pursue other avenues that I'd enjoy. So I guess like in the sense of what you're saying as well is like you can do one shoot and get paid 1,500, you know, for that one day's work, for example, and then you've got 6 days to do whatever the fuck you want. Do you know what I mean? And push elsewhere. Do you see
Yeah.
yourself working in the porn industry for a long time, or is it kind of, you know, I'm going to make some money here and then I'm going to invest and do other things? Or you don't have to say, by the way. It's, you know.
No, it's okay. I don't have an interest in working in porn long term. I never did. You know, like my aspiration in life was to never really be a porn star, but it just kind of happened. And I, I'm in it mainly. It's a really good promotional tool. It's great for building a following and building my brand, and to save money fairly quickly. But, I'd say like this year I really want to transition fully into music. And so that's kind of my goal, and I'll kind of just I take what I get with porn, like, but I also, the thing with porn is it can open up other doors. Like, for instance, I do feature dancing at strip clubs. Like I do a lot of dancing. That's a great source of income that I can do whenever I want. I can webcam whenever I want. And because I have the following from porn, people want to see me on webcam.
Hmm.
So like I'm kind of my own boss with that. I can just jump on and turn my webcam on whenever. But it's really up to me. Like it's up to me how much I want to work. Like how much do I want to bust my ass? And I don't know, like I also sell my own videos and I make my own content and sell them on ManyVids and clips for sale. And I make custom videos for fans. And, I do private Skype shows. I sell my underwear. I sell used clothing. Like I do a lot of different things to just constantly have different avenues of income coming in. So I'm realistic. So, when people in porn, like you kind of have a shelf life in a way, especially women, unless you want to really go and become like a MILF and do certain types of porn like that. But I don't really have an interest in doing that. So I'm gonna just like rock it for as long as I can, take everything I can get from it, and then just move on with my life.
That's a fucking strange fetish, isn't it? It's buying people's clothes. Do you know what I mean? Like each to their own, but like, you know, it's like, yo, can I purchase some of your knickers because I just want to smell them, like, or whatever, like, or wear them in the house. Like, I don't get it, but I'm sure people pay serious bucks for that shit. But it's not something I've never fucking understood. Anyways, obviously, like we spoke about, you know, people having. Well, I mean, what the fuck is up with that? It's the same with foot fetishes. I've never understood it, but whatever. Like, hopefully, you don't have a foot fetish, but I've never understood it. So we obviously touched on people having like many different layers. You were saying that you're interested in the music industry, you do producing, and obviously I've seen a few of your videos, live videos, where you're on the drums, etc. Are you part of a band at all, or anything like that?
I was. I was. I'd love to be in another band again. I had a falling out with one of the bands I was in, and it just didn't work out. Like they didn't really have the availability that I had, and we were kind of on different pages. So I've just been kind of jamming with people, doing a lot of studio sessions and stuff with friends, and um, I'm trying to just find the right fit again, because being in a band is like being in a relationship, and you spend so much time with that people, you're working together. And so I'm just this time I'm really trying to make sure that I find people that are really on the same page as me, and they're cool with the whole porn thing, because believe it or not, there are some musicians that like they don't want to deal with me being involved in the adult industry, and I kind of like I'm surprised sometimes, because I'm like, look, it's just another way to bring in a crowd, like I can promote, cross promoting is great. I
Hmm.
can promote on all my social media, like, hey, I'm playing drums in my band at this show, come by. And it's a really awesome way to like sell tickets and to bring more people to come to shows. But so I just want to make sure the chemistry's right before I get into another band. And um but yeah, I mean, there's really nothing like playing music with people. It's my favorite thing to do in the world, like you're like speaking on in a different language to each other, and there's this energy that's passing through everyone, and it's like the best high in the world. No drug, nothing could come close to that feeling of like making music with people, So I really
No,
live for that. It's better than sex.
do you know what? Like, it's weird you say that because Eminem come to England and he performed at Wembley, and I've been a massive Eminem fan since I was young. So I went to see him, and he had like quite a big crowd there, and it was just such a fucking buzz. Like, and I'm not even playing the music or making the music. I'm just there like admiring this guy who I followed for so long, and the high that I got from that, like, it was just madness. And I remember it was at Wembley Stadium, and I was on like the top floor, looking down, and it wasn't even Eminem performing at the time. It was like a warm up act, and he was playing some like drum and bassy dubstep. And anyways, he like had the music like really quiet, and he like raised his hand, and then he like dropped the beat in, and everyone went fucking nuts, and it just gave me this like tingling feeling. I was like, Jesus Christ, like I've never felt that before or anything. And I was like, fuck me, like this is, it's sort of like, it sounds really really gay to say, but it's like orgasmic, do you know what I mean? It's like such a high, it's like a buzz of adrenaline and everything. So I can relate. And obviously it's a little bit different when you're playing it because you're creating it, so I'm sure it's like an even higher buzz. But yeah, I mean, I think the music's like a massive, for me, like it's a massive relaxant. Like, even if I'm listening to like heavy rock, I'm just like shaking my head, going mad, like even if I'm in the gym or whatever. But after, I'm just like so chilled and just like, yeah, I'm glad I listened to that song or whatever. But what's your favorite band?
I get asked this a lot. It's really hard to choose, but I'll list you some of my favorite bands, because it's really, I can't choose one.
Hmm.
Um, I'd say like my top are probably Pantera, Opeth, Corrosion of Conformity, um, Clutch, Pink Floyd, Metallica, um, I mean The Doors. I like the Rolling Stones a lot. Like I like a lot of metal, progressive metal, heavy rock, psychedelic rock, classic rock. Um, it's just
What's
hard for
your what's your so, because I'm a massive Pink Floyd fan. Like, I went and saw their, I can't remember what they're called. Like, not Pink Floyd, but an act that does all their songs. I forget what you call them, like a tribute act. So I went
Oh,
and saw Pink Floyd, like a tribute act of Pink Floyd, and they're probably one of my all-time favourite bands. Like, what's one of your favourite songs done by them, if you don't mind? Like, obviously, it's
uh,
so hard to pick, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
what's one of your favourite solos? Like, there you go.
Well, okay. Well, I've seen Roger Waters live. I saw him on Long Island years ago, and one of the best nights of my life. But if I were to choose like a favorite song, I mean, like some of my favorite albums, obviously, like Dark Side of the Moon. I love Animals. I love metal. I love Obscured by Clouds. But one of my all-time favorite songs by Pink Floyd. It's on Dark Side of the Moon, and it's us and them, but then it segues into Any Color You Like.
Mm.
And that guitar solo has just always been hands down one of my favorite songs of all time. I mean, I've must have listened to that song thousands of times, but Obscured by Clouds, like some of the instrumental songs on that, I just love. I mean, Animals, Sheep is one of my favorite songs, like Dogs, I just it's really hard for me to choose, and then I love I love some of their earlier stuff with Sid Barrett, but um yeah, I
Like
don't know.
Live at Pompeii is one of my sort of favourite like oldies of theirs, but obviously Comfortably Numb's like a massive. If you've ever seen like the live version of Comfortably Numb at Pulse, it's like I definitely would
Yep,
recommend it. It's
I
like
have.
such a good solo, but
Great. The whole wall too, like I love that album. It's hard for me to choose. But
I mean, Dark
I
Side of
have
the Moon. Go
right?
on.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I have this tattoo, the dark side of the moon right there. This is like
Yeah.
one of my first tattoos. I mean, I got it covered up a little bit, but um yeah, Pink Floyd definitely got me through a lot of darker times when I was younger. It's they're definitely my top.
For sure. I mean, if you haven't tried this yet, a friend of mine got massively high, so he got stoned basically, like on some good weed, and he just put like turned off all the lights in his room and put on the Dark Side of the Moon album, and he said to me like, "You got to do it, man. It's just it'll get you, it'll make you feel some weird feelings. Like it's like you'll appreciate the album so much more if you're just high as fuck, listening to it in a dark room. So if you've never done it, that's my recommendation for you, basically, is to get high
Yeah.
and listen to Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. So you said you're gigging. I think I saw a post on your Instagram either today or earlier today or yesterday about a few places that you're going to be sort of going to and performing. Are you doing that on your own or with a few other people?
Well, I host a lot of shows too. Like I put together a lot of shows with bands, and in like a week I'm gonna be in New York, and I'm throwing this metal show on Long Island. So I'll be performing a little bit there, but I'm friends with a lot of the bands I put on the lineup, and so that'll be a fun night. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that. I threw one at the same spot around Christmas, and um, I really love hosting events too. And that's something that I might want to get seriously into. Once I'm more out of porn. I
Mm.
love putting together shows and events. It's just a lot of work. But um, yeah, so I have that coming up, and uh, some different festivals I might go to this year, and I'm just I just gotta sort of like work my schedule out for the next few months because I'm sort of all over the place sometimes, so it's hard to commit to like shows. But I definitely want to start playing live more. It's just I want to be in a band again. Because
Mm.
like you can't really do much as a drummer like solo, unless I like hook I could rig up like my a DJ controller and with the drum set and like do some live like drum and bass DJ things, but I would rather work with someone else, and or work with a band. So, things will progress in the next few months.
When did you when did you learn to play the drums? Like, was that years back or recently?
No, I in elementary school we picked an instrument, and I picked percussion, and I just loved it. Even when I was a kid, and I got my first drum kit when I was in 6th or 7th grade, and I got more into jamming and making music with people. Like I've been in like every type of band you can imagine. I mean, jazz bands, symphonic bands, concert bands. Like I was such a band geek in high school and college, and um, but there were certain points. Like I went to college originally for art and for graphic design and photography. I went to art school for 2 years, and during that time, like I wasn't playing drums as much, and I'm really upset with that. I kind of put it on the back burner. So then once I left there, I started playing like nonstop again. It will always be my biggest passion. I know that. Um, and then I switched and went for sociology and nutrition, and I never really liked college that much, and I'm kind of happy that I didn't go to college for music because it might have like made me slightly bitter because
Mm.
that's what it did for art. Like I no longer was it like doing photography and graphic art became like a chore. You know, it was no longer really enjoyable when I went to school for it. So, um, you know, I still do it as a hobby now and whatnot, but it's just yeah, drums has always just been one of my favorite things to do. You know, it's such a good release. It's a good way for me to get out energy, and I love it.
Yeah, nice. So, what are your views like? Because obviously you're saying about the drums and how you're releasing sort of energy and maybe even frustrations, etc. Like, what's your beliefs on this? Like, I think you touched on certain points in by sorry, I'm mumbling about. So with energy, obviously it kind of touches to me on like the side of like spirituality and like vibrations. I think you mentioned like about like some people being on like a low frequency or whatever. So like, what's your views on how that sort of works? Does that make sense to you in what I'm saying? So for you and yourself, you go out in nature a lot. Like, is this how you refuel yourself? Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, for starters, I mean, like, I'm not religious. You know, I actually went to Catholic school when I was younger for a little bit, and it was awful. And um, regardless, that's pointless. But I've always been really in touch with just energy. You know, like I guess you could consider me like an empath if you ever heard that term.
Yeah.
Someone that's sort of overly empathetic and is just very sensitive to energy. And I've really learned to filter it, you know, and to kind of protect myself, but yet like everywhere I go, everything I do, I feel everything to such a heightened way. And it allows me to get in touch with sort of living this way in life where I can often like manifest my reality. Like if I want something bad enough, I can literally kind of focus enough on it where I can get it. You know, like I can achieve it. Um, you know, I'm very into just personal growth and like I can't say that I don't follow any sort of belief system. Like I kind of just live life in my own way, and I've sort of created my own spirituality. But um you know, if I really were to say like nature is my god, you know, like
Mm.
nature, just nature is god, you know, just that's what I live for. I mean, I don't even particularly like humans very much. You know, like for me to really recharge, I need to be outdoors in nature, away from civilization. You know, and I need it constantly. Like I need to refuel my batteries a lot, because a lot of people are leeches. A lot of situations in life, it's draining. It takes your energy away, and if you don't refuel yourself, then you're going to be depleted, and you're going to be like this empty shell. You know, so especially like working in the adult industries and the music industries, it's very exhausting physically, mentally, emotionally. And so I just really need to make sure I take time to be inspired, you know, to just to look at landscapes and to look at nature and to look at animals and insects, and just to be like motivated that there is beauty in life, you know, like there I don't really find humans beautiful. I'm not even really attracted to humans. Like I'm attracted to just
Life.
nature. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, just humans don't really motivate me. You know, I'm motivated by just feeling life to the fullest, and it's kind of hard to explain. You know what I
No, I
mean?
think I can make sense of what you're saying because I'm exactly like whilst you've been saying that I can relate to it. Like I'm so similar in that I work in an industry where I'm working with people all the time, but I hate people because I just think like society is just corrupt. Like people care about the wrong things or whatever, and that bothers me because I can almost I don't know, like you said, like about being an empath, it's like I want to help them. Like, why do you care about all this bullshit when you've got all of this like around you to go see, to go hiking and see this true beauty of the planet, almost like, you know, these insects and these flowers and this like scenic view, and yet you just want to go home and watch fucking Geordie Shore or something and waste time doing that. So little situations like that bother me, and like emotionally I want to help these people, and but then I find that that drains my battery, so then I'm having to go out and chill in the woods or whatever and just relax and get myself focused again. Do you know what I mean? It's like this almost society's like trying to pull me into this trap, and I'm kind of go in there for a little bit and then have to break away and refuel myself before coming back and dealing with people, because energy is like contagious. So if you're around people that are sort of negative or letting off this low vibration, I feel like for myself that I absorb it too much, and that can fuck me up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, put it this way, I'm just really selective who I spend my time with, and it's gotten more and more selective the older I've got, the more down this path I'm going, and also I can really relate to less and less people. Like the
Mm.
more successful I become in my own way, the fewer people I want around me. Like if I do like I'm a very social person. I need to be, and I'm good with people. Like I'm a very much an adaptable chameleon like I said before, but in reality, like I'm really just I don't really like to be around most people because most people they don't inspire me. They're not really on my wavelength. They don't really motivate me. They're consumed with just superficial bullshit that I have
Mm.
no interest in, and it's just especially in the adult industries, there's a lot of low frequency people that have priorities that are just not similar to mine. And so I am really careful with the friends I keep. And, for me to want to spend time with someone, it's because I'm either learning from them, we're making money, or we're doing something creative where there's like, it's productive. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't like to waste time with people doing stupid shit,
Yeah.
and like, I would rather be doing my own thing. And I very much love to be alone, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think it's healthy to spend time by yourself. Like if you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to love anyone else. You know what I mean?
Nice. No,
So
yeah, I mean, a lot of what you're saying are like things I've studied. So, for example, like the law of attraction or whatever you want to call it, The Secret. I read like a couple of their books, and they touch on similar things as to what you're saying, like love yourself before you can love others, or how can you expect anyone to love you if you don't love yourself?
mhm.
So, these are definitely all. I mean, for me, it's again like the superficial stuff. So, if I'm hanging around in society, people are like, "Oh yeah, like did you see that thing on Facebook?" And "Oh, did you hear about that guy on Facebook?" And I'm like, "Come on, like, there's more to like. I want to talk about the universe. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to talk about things that are gonna make me smarter and more intelligent. I don't want to talk about this low frequency, who slept with who bullshit. Do you know what I mean? I don't really care. So that's why, like, I have to spend a lot of time by myself, because I have to like refocus on what my interests are. And if you spend so much time being in this crowd, you suddenly start to think and feel like them slightly. And I think that's like where I've learnt to, it's like demoralizing for myself and zaps my energy, so I have to come back to being on my own to refocus my points on what I'm interested in. So,
Yeah, exactly.
whether you can relate.
I
um
mean, I kind of consider myself at this point like an observer of life. You
mm,
know, people are often just distractions, or people are sometimes mirrors, and you meet certain people because they reflect things that you need to see within yourself. Or, some people are just doors that you open up and they bring you to new levels, and they introduce you to new things. And I'm very happy with who I am at this point, and I'm always growing, I'm always evolving, but I like to meet people that are also very comfortable with who they are, and we can enjoy and share information and enlighten each other and
mm,
help each other grow. Like I only want to be around someone if they're genuinely wanting to help me grow, because then I'm going to want to do the same for them.
yeah.
Anyone that is just trying to bring you down, I cannot be around it. I feel sick when I'm around these people, and so I just separate myself. And sometimes people have accused me of being cold, or almost like desensitized or monotone. And it's because like I sort of shut myself off because I don't want these people getting into me. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So I
Yeah.
kind of like put this barrier up and protect myself. And I'm not doing it to be mean. I'm doing it just because I don't want them like infiltrating my soul. Like I just keep them at a distance.
Mm.
So it's good to
No.
be selective.
Yeah. I mean, they're like there's people out there that are just like leeches. They want to suck your blood. Basically, it's as simple.
Yeah.
Like they want to suck your energy from you. They want to leech off you, and you're kind of just like whatever. Like I need to distance myself from you. I don't want to open up to you because I'm sure like from previous relationships that you may have had or whatever, there's certain people that you clash with, and it's like, so for example, I'll use an experience for me. If I'm in a toxic relationship, like the barrier comes up, I cut them off, I'm cold, like I have no interest, I don't care, because it's not beneficial to me and my energy and my happiness, and it can be quite selfish, but I think you've got to adapt to that ruthlessness in life to be able to cut people off that aren't serving you and your energy.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I'm sure that you can relate to that in life, where you've even like friends or whatever that you've just had to just cut off. You're just like, look, you're no good for me, you're not benefiting me in any way.
Absolutely. I've had to do that a lot, especially like the more involved in porn I've gotten. And, I've had to really restrict my circle of friends. And I have a lot of acquaintances, but I keep most people like kind of at a distance, like it's really rare for me to want to really get close to someone. And, like I said, it's not because I'm a bad person, and I want everyone to feel good, but it's just I have to look out for myself, especially because I'm completely independent, like I'm self-sufficient, and if I'm not on top of my shit, then I'm not ever going to be where I am. Like I'm my own boss, and I have to be really really careful of the people that I let into my life. Cuz a lot of people too, they want to take advantage of you. They want to use you for their own selfish means, and I just always have my guard up, you know. But I try to do it in the most like humane, nice way, but it's just that's life.
Yeah, that's one thing I've learned is like there's there's no nice way in cutting someone off, because either way they're still getting hurt. So it's something that I need to learn, because I'm quite ruthless. I'm just like, fuck this, like you're gone. Do you know what I mean? Like, and people have always been like, oh, you're quite harsh or whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Or maybe I could do it nice, but in the end the outcome's the same and it's still gonna feel shit. So
Yeah.
whatever. You said obviously you studied nutrition. What effects do you like? Because I'm interested in the effects in the saying that you are what you eat. So is that like something that you can relate to, in the sense of like, if you have like a good nutrition, you're eating well, it's going to affect you better than if you're eating shit and fueling your body with shit? Obviously you've studied nutrition probably to a better level than I have, so maybe you can give me your opinion on that view.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably I would probably be one of the most intense people you would meet as far as nutrition goes. I mean, like my diet is mainly raw food. I'm mainly a raw vegan. I don't really like to label myself, but I take a lot of supplements too. And my journey in nutrition kind of began when I was younger. I had a lot of allergies. I have a gluten intolerance. I had really bad Crohn's issues, and my bowels were just really sensitive. I couldn't digest lactose, casein, most animal proteins just never really agreed with me, and a lot of grains, gluten especially, but even like brown rice and certain things, if I have like I'm just sensitive to a lot of things. And so I began to like really get into enzymes and probiotics and certain things to fix my digestive health. And once I sort of mastered my digestive tract, I was able to kind of focus on the nutrients I really needed to be absorbing, because I was really underweight as a kid, and I didn't get my period till I was 18 years old because I didn't have enough fat on my body, so my body couldn't basically produce hormones. And, so it took me a while to like correct certain things that were going on, within my body. And once I did that, I just became so obsessed with like what every food, every supplement was doing. And I'm very like hypersensitive and aware of what I put into my body. And I try to think of like human bodies like a car, like a vehicle. You have to maintain it for it to run properly, and you got to put the right fuel in it. And it's just I I have my regimens, like I do a lot of smoothies with green superfoods and plant-based protein powders. And I just like I said, mainly raw food. But I am so strict with my diet, and it's something that will never change because I love the way I feel, and I would never want to change it. You know what I mean? Like I feel so good, and my immune system is so strong, and it has to be because, in a way, like me doing porn and certain things, like I'm sort of putting my body more at risk. And I may, even traveling a lot, I'm putting my body to more exposure to germs and bacteria. So I have to make sure my body is in such strong, like the strongest possible state that it can be in. You know what I mean? But I also work with a lot of organic food brands. I do sales for them. I do promo work. I work a lot of expos. And I'm just really passionate about organic brands that, want people to feel the best. So,
Have you ever heard of broccoli sprouts?
yeah, I mean, I eat a lot of sprouted super greens, and I really only eat grains that are sprouted. Like I have a lot of sprouted buckwheat, sprouted
Hmm.
millet. I only eat nuts and seeds if they're sprouted. But yeah, I love sprouts. And wow, I think I have a splinter in my hand. I'm just looking at this now.
That's right. There's a you can find it on YouTube, like with a quick search. But there's a woman called Dr. Rhonda Patrick who basically talks about broccoli sprouts, which I've just grown my own and eaten them recently, and they're like probably one of the best superfoods you can have. So you buy the seeds, put them in a jar, put some water in, leave them for a week, clean them 3 times a day, and they sprout and grow, and you can eat them.
Yeah.
Really quick to grow or whatever. But yeah, they've got loads of benefits to them. They're like between 10 and 100 times better than between 10 and 100 times better than most foods that are beating cancer or preventing cancer, as well as anti-aging. It's really good for inflammation of the joints. But yeah, she does like there's like a 3-minute video, and then there's a couple of other longer videos where she goes into a bit more detail about this new food that she's kind of ranting about. But yeah, like if you're not eating broccoli sprouts, give them a try. I'm sure you can get them where you are, and literally really simple to have. Even if you're not eating, even if you are eating them, consume loads more, because they've been working wonders for me and my joints at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, sprouted greens in general are amazing just because, anytime you cook food, you destroy enzymes and nutrients, and so the more raw foods and sprouted foods you're eating, the higher alkaline your diet, the healthier you're going to be. And um, cancer, most bacteria, it's going to breed in acidic environments. So you eat raw foods, like you have more just bioavailable nutrients coming in, absorbs right into your bloodstream. You have the enzymes that are present in the foods. And like sprouting broccoli, for instance, broccoli is a cruciferous vegetable. It's super high in sulfur, which is naturally detoxing. You know what I mean? It's great for joints. And broccoli is just it's so high in vitamin C, vitamin A, but when you cook it, you kind of like destroy certain properties of the
Yeah.
plant, but I love sprouts. Like I consume a lot of sprouts, and I have them in powders a lot. But um that's awesome that you eat those. I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah, I'm trying to grow my own food in my garden, but it's not turning out well, because my dog caught him the other day having a shit in my fucking soil, so I've had to like clear it all out. And Yeah, it's fucked me in the arse basically, because it's spring. Obviously, everything's meant to be sort of slowly blossoming, and yeah, I've shot myself in the foot and left it maybe a little bit too soon. But yeah, my dog, the little bastard, decided to take a dump on my
Mm.
food that was growing, which is kind of awful. But yeah, I mean, for me, like a massive advocate of diet, and like touching on the cancer thing, I've read quite a lot of articles saying like cancer can't grow in a high alkaline body. So, you know, and I kind of think that reflects on people's lifestyles that, yeah, cancers, I think the statistics shown in the UK was like every 1 in 2 people will get cancer, and I think a lot of it's reflective on what people are eating, such as like cans of Coke and Doritos and takeaways and shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't even. I get so upset when I observe how people are. I mean, I just like it absolutely baffles me when I see how some people live and how they eat, and I like can't even get upset about it because it's like, okay, if you want to do that to your body, go do it, you know. But these people, they just don't know any better, and they have no self awareness, you know, and it's just it makes me sick. It really does. And even like people smoking cigarettes, and like I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, you know, and just doing certain things. Why would you purposely consume certain foods or beverages, or do some lifestyle habits like smoking cigarettes where you know it's not benefiting your body, but people do it anyway. You know what I mean? Because they just don't care. Or, you know, they want to say, "Oh, well, I don't have time to cook," or "I don't have a lot of money," or this. Like, it's bullshit. It's
Mm.
really just self-discipline, you know, and a lot of people just don't have it, and health is just not their priority. And then they wonder when they have diabetes and cancer and all these health issues, where do you think you got it from? You know, like I have no self-pity. Like I don't, you know, it's like good. I'm glad you're dying because we need to get rid of people on this planet like you. You know, that sounds terrible, but it's like survival of the fittest, bitch. You know, like if you're not going to take care of your body, then you should die off. Like I feel really strongly about that. You know, and then these people, they're just put on drugs and pharmaceutical medicine, and they're just sustaining this awful health, and they're just existing. They're not living, they're existing, you know, and they're just abiding by each day. And God, it's like these people are just a waste of space. But I just feel really strongly about that. I get really bitter, you know, and it's like these companies like Monsanto, and they're ruining farmers' lives and trying
Mm.
to, you know what I mean? Like the government wants people to get sick, so then they can go to these doctors and these pharmaceutical places and get drugs, you know, and it's just awful, this awful cycle, you
Yeah, I
know, and I
mean
wish we were more aware.
the pharmaceutical industry, like, because I study a lot of, well, I've read a lot of stuff on it, and most of the stuff I read is obviously American based, but the pharmaceutical industry, the cancer industry, for etc., like, for example, and the pharmaceutical industry and the cancer industry, for example, is worth a lot of money, do you know what I mean, to a lot of people, like chemotherapy and that. So if
Yep.
it's making people money, why the fuck are they going to want you to feel better? Do you know what I mean? Like, why are they going
Exactly.
to...
Scam. It's really a scam.
Yeah,
And it's like, you know, it's just that's where the money is. You know, like you said, even doctors, they're not even making as much money now because pharmacists, you know, people that doctors make money by prescribing drugs. You know what I mean? And it's just I hardly even go to the doctor ever. I mean, I go to my physician to get blood work done like every other month, you know, in addition to getting tested for porn every 14 days. But like I am such a hypochondriac, like I'm a freak with my health, you know, like I always got to make sure that my levels are right, you know, I'm not deficient in anything. But it just amazes me. Some people they don't even think about their body, and I'm like, how? Like, this is what's getting you through life. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you want to take care of it? Why wouldn't you want to make it a priority? And people just have excuses, you know, and it's just
bullshit.
sad to me. But if that's how people want to live, you know, you can't change how they think, you know?
No,
It's
I mean
their
they've been programmed in that, programmed a certain way, and haven't woke up to it yet, I guess. But I think the saying's like, there's no greater wealth than health. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
someone's really ill, they'll give a fuck ton of money to be feeling better. But on the other end of the spectrum, the government or whatever have kind of used that. There's no greater wealth than health. No greater wealth than health by saying we'll make you sick, so then we can make money from it. So, for example, like you're saying with like nutrition can make you healthy. Like if you're ill, like I've read enough articles to know that there's certain foods you can eat, etc., that can benefit your health, stop you being ill, and even reverse some sickness effects. But your doctor isn't going to tell you that if they're making money from prescribing you medication. So rather than actually fixing the issue, they're just kind of, I don't know, masking it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of doctors, they don't like, well, people in general, they don't want to they don't want to fix the root causes of their
Mm.
problems. They just want a quick pill for something to go away, and it's just like, why?
Yeah.
You either fix the problem at the root so it's gone and you don't have to continue to deal with it, or what? You just keep taking your magical pills and just expect that your life's going to get better. Like, I don't know. I can't live like that, and if I even think something's remotely wrong with me, I need to get to the bottom of it right away, and I want to fix it, and I'll do a cleansing fast, and I'll take a ton of supplements. I'll just clean my body out and make sure I get to the source of the problem, and like I rarely ever get sick, ever. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I've been to the doctor besides just to get my physical.
Mm.
Like I never have to really deal with health problems. And it's because like I make my health my priority, and it's whatever.
No, no, I can relate. Like being in the fitness industry myself, obviously I look after my health and what I eat and make myself feel good. And I rarely go to the doctor. And touching on the point you made with like addressing the root causes, is like when I suffered with depression for a while, and I went to the doctor and they were like, yeah, take these tablets. And I spoke to my mum and she was like, nah, fuck those tablets. Like, you need to, find out what's going on. You need to release some of these chemicals and stress. You need to go to the gym, spend time meditating, be out in nature, blah, blah, blah. So I started doing these things, and then, voila, eating better food, I was better. And I'm
Yeah.
still, obviously in life we have ups and downs. I still have moments where I feel depressed, but I'm not depressed like clinically. Like, I'm just having a shit day emotionally, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
That.
but yeah, I've kept you on here for longer than you intended, so I'll let you go if you like. And massive thank you for coming on. Is there anything you want to talk about, or are you all good and done? It's up to you. If you want to add some stuff on, I'm happy to sit here still. Obviously, it's your time, not mine, so I'm all cool.
I know I'm good. I mean, I gotta go run and do some stuff, but yeah, it was a pleasure talking, and no problem. If you ever want to have me on again, just let me know.
No, yeah, for sure. Happy to host you every day if you wanted. I couldn't care. Do you know what I mean? It's been nice talking to you. But yeah, no, cheers for coming on and that. Massively respect it. Respect you for that and taking the time out of your day to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again, and shout out to everyone who's listening. Thank you, and
Probably
good.
no one in England. It's like fucking 2:30 in the morning. But what I'll do is I'll send you the. Well, I'll end this and then I'll quickly chat with you, alright? If that's okay.
Awesome.
So
Sounds
we'll
good.
wrap this up. Right, cool. Take care. Cheers for coming on.